Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like,
what an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 204. Don't mind the beard. I am sorry, but I had my right shoulder replaced and I'm right-handed and I could not pull off the shave with the left hand and I could not certainly shave with my right hand. So my apologies. We are going to have a Merry Christmas show. And if you have received my link to join us and wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah. And let's share our favorite customer experience stories. I was just browsing in the Mattress Industry Network group and I saw one that I'm going to comment on in just a few minutes. But let me just pay the bills real quick. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? 101 tips for furniture and mattress store owners to sell another $1 million or more this year. And thank you very much, Steve and Greg, for sponsoring our show. The Mattress Industry Network group is a great group and over, I think, 2,700, might be pushing 2,800 members. It's an absolutely free group. If you want to learn how to build, market, and sell and succeed in the mattress industry, this is the group for you. Founded by retailers for the benefit of the entire industry. So everybody's in here, you name it, fellow store owners, sales pros that work the retail floor, sales reps who sell things, and VPs of sales and owners of manufacturing companies. So everybody's in here. Join us. Over 27, probably closer to 2,800 strong right now and growing. Hit that QR code and I will check in once or twice a week. I think you guys see my Swedish Santa Claus. That is something my wife got me. And wishing everybody a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. They're on the same day this year. At least they start on the same day this year. So, one other thing. Chris, can you pull up my book or is the image not good enough? So my new book is almost ready to go. Miles and Miles of Selling Greatness, How to Sell More Mattresses This Year. It'll be available in January. And one of the things that I figured out is that I have put on my cars over 2 million miles traveling the upper Midwest. And that does not include any airline miles at all. I don't even know what the number would be. But I've been very blessed in my career to sit at the feet of some of the best salespeople. Hey, Chris, how are you there?
Hi, Pete. Surprise. Here's your book.
The greatest producer of podcasts in the world, Chris Stone and his company Cast Ahead. If anybody needs podcast producer, I highly recommend Chris. I don't know how many episodes we've done together, but a bunch. And this guy does his best. He has to work overtime at it to make me look the best I can possibly look.
Nah, you're easy. Just don't tell my boss.
Yeah, right. So anyway, guys and gals, I'm super proud of this book. I took all the blogs that I wrote. I took all of the e-zines that I sent and I took the best of those articles, and then I asked what changed. And then I asked some really, really smarter than me people like Jeff Giannakovo, Brent Batterman, Scott Vaughn, Justin Trumbo, um, let me see, Chris Tahaney, um, to write a chapter in the book so that this is up to date. It is something that you can read and you can start to implement and make more money today. The way it's broken down. Yeah, Gordon, thank you. Chris Stone is awesome.
Gordon knows how to play it up for the producer. You know,
Yeah,
when
Gordon.
Gordon comes on, he's going to get the
You are such.
the white glove treatment. when
I
he
just
comes
have to
on
say
here.
something, Gordon. You are such a jewel of the industry. I love the fact that not only are you a master and a teacher in our industry, but you're also a student. I think that that's really what makes you special. You've always got, the retail experience on your brain, and thank you for that. So I'm super proud of this book. It will make you more money if you're a retail salesperson. Man, this is a book that is going to help you make more money the minute you open it. And all you have to do is implement a few simple things, and it's going to help you in every aspect of your business. And it doesn't matter what your selling system is that you use. Actually, there's some bonus chapters about selling systems. And it doesn't matter what brands you have on the floor. This is brand agnostic. This is selling and the psychology of selling, getting ready for the sale, during the sale, and after the sale. So, guys, when it's ready, I'll let you know. It'll be sometime in January, God willing. So I want to thank Jeff Giannakovo's book launch team. They have done a great job helping me get ready. And please keep Jeff's wife, Stephanie, in our prayers as she is battling for the last 3 weeks or over 3 weeks now. So without a further ado, Chris.
Well, without a further to do, Pete, I got two things. First of all, Gordon Heck, active on LinkedIn here in the chat, and thanks for doing that. In response to how he played up and said the producer was awesome, here's his reply: Rudolph the Brown-Nosed Reindeer. I'm going to leave that there. I'm just going to put that out there and leave that there.
That's beautiful, Gordon. Thank you.
But I have a question for you, Pete, that you weren't expecting, because you didn't tell me to, like I get surprises as a producer. One was, hey Chris, do you got that book? Can you pop it up? Oh, okay, yeah, let me squirrel and find that. So I've got one for you, Pete.
Sure. This
is a book about things that you learned on the road. So you had lots of what they call windshield time, right? And so when you've got windshield time, you have to pay attention to the road, and you've got to focus on the road. So what do you do? What do you do while you're driving? You do a lot of thinking, right? But what else do you do? You've got your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel. So what do you end up doing most of the time when you're on the road?
Couple of different things. And for those of you who are my customers and work with me and Jenny, you're going to laugh, because the first thing I do after I make a stop is I get on the phone with Jenny and I give her the action items from that visit so that she can jump on that right away. I am not a paperwork guy, even though when I was the VP of sales at White Dove, I did all of my salespeople's paperwork as an act of love and also productivity. I just don't believe salespeople should do much paperwork, and I still don't. And so that's why I hired Jenny. So the very first thing I do, give my list of things that we need to do, whether it's order POP or plan another meeting or whatever it happens to be. But one of the productivity hacks that I'll share with everybody listening, and this is a good one. I listen to Audible books on number one, and I did it for years the wrong way. Do not listen to Audible books at 1.0 speed. put it as fast as you can
Oh,
get it.
life
Um,
hack. Life hack. I
um,
love it.
some guys I can go up to 1.5. Most are at 1.2. But even at 1.2, over the hours that you spend in your car, you're going to get a few more books in a year at a bare minimum. And the most important thing that I would say about that is I used to go for quantity. Like I want to listen to 100 books a year. Guys, gals, don't do that. Implement 10 books a year. 10 books a year implemented is better than listening to 100 books a year and saying, "Oh, I did it. I did 100 books. I read 100 books this year." Really? What did you implement? That's my question. The minute I hear something like that, because I was that guy and I got the t-shirt, and I can ask that question because it's not what you read, it's what you implement. So there you go. That is my number one hack. And here's a little behind the scenes little secret about me and my car, which has been either a Sprinter van or a Sienna van that usually has mattresses in it. I never eat out. Never. And I know that there's a bunch of my dealers watching this. I eat out with you all the time. What are you talking about? Unless I'm with a dealer. Unless I'm with a dealer, I pack my lunch literally for the week. Jenny
Oh,
does.
so you're a cooler guy. You got stuff in a cooler.
I've got
Yeah.
a big cooler.
Yeah.
I've got everything I need in it. And it's not even, it used to be I was poor. That
Mhm.
hasn't been true for an awful long time. Thank the good Lord. Um, it, Now it's because of the quality of the food and the service is so bad.
Oh.
I just don't dare even go through a drive-through anymore unless I have to. So
Well, where I'm going with this, Pete, before we get too far off a tangent, but I want to dovetail on something you just said.
sure.
I'm gonna pull the book off here for a second and kind of go back to this. And if anybody here wants to join us live, we have opened up the backstage, and we'd love it if you would come on and join us live. We did this for the 200th episode. We had a bunch of people that got on and congratulated Pete. But this is an open forum for you to join us live. We can sit here and yap all day if you want to hang out and listen. That's fine. And if you just want to chat in the chat of your choice, LinkedIn like Gordon or Facebook or YouTube, that's fine as well if you don't feel like you're camera ready. But we'd love to have you on. And if it's anything from just wishing happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, whatever holiday that you do celebrate around this time, maybe your New Year's resolutions, but share some your favorite customer experiences. We'd love to hear that, and maybe just have a some final screen time here with the legend of Pete Primeau. You can just open a browser either on your phone or at whatever computer that you're at, and type in castahead.net/Pete. CASTAHEAD, castahead.net/Pete, not .com/net. I'm sorry, .net/Pete. One of these days, Pete, I'm going to get my words right. And we'll see you backstage. Just turn on your camera and your mic. We'll pop you in. It's very much like a Zoom experience, which probably everyone knows about. And we'd love to see you. And you don't have to be here forever. If you want to be here forever, you could do that. But at some point, we're going to have to tell you that you don't got to go home, but you got to get out of here, and we'll end the show. But in any event, Pete, where I was going with this, you talked about bringing your lunch and how that you used to be poor. And I think, and there's another one of the clients that I have that is successful, that is Victor Antonio, and he grew up very poor, and in Puerto Rico and in Chicago especially. And you have shared that with the crowd. But I think there's a lot to learn from people who have grown up that way, and they still remain. There are core elements of someone who grew up without money. That they apply even though they now have money. And that's one of those. It's like if you eat out all the time and every day, you're going to realize after a while, look how much money I spent on doing this when I could have just carved, grabbed an igloo cooler, threw some of those big blue fake ice things in there, it kept everything cool, and really didn't need to stop and spend $12 every time I'm going through a drive-through, and it's probably better for you health-wise too. Oh, yeah. And so those are the kind of things that you learn when you grow up without money. Or not as much money as others. And those that just had everything all along might just think, well, I had all of this stuff, and all this stuff is even easier to get now, right? It used to be, it wasn't so easy to get food on the fly when we were growing up. And so I think it's important to learn some things from people who may not have grown up with a lot of money. And you can enjoy yourself for sure, and I know you do. But there are certain things that are like, you know what? I don't need to be spending $39 a month for this service and $16 a month for this service. And do I really need this? And can I just put stuff in a cooler? And can you learn things like that? And I think I don't know. Did you share that in your book that you learned those kinds of things when you were growing up? If not, you need to have an addendum there.
There's plenty in there. Alex, how are you, my friend? Happy holidays, gentlemen, and to all the wonderful people in the industry. Thank you, Alex. And if you would like, feel free to join us. I'd love to see your face up on the screen. Thank you very much, Alex, and happy holidays to you, brother. So, Alex is in the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. What did you have? You had something.
I will say this. So you like set it up I set it up perfectly. I put the ball right on the tee, and you hit a triple. Okay, but you didn't bring it all the way home. And we do have somebody backstage, so I won't take too much time with this question in the interest of time. But back to the book, Pete. You talk about when you're on the road and listening to audiobooks. Is there an audiobook for Miles and Miles of Retail Selling Greatness, or is there a plan for it?
Yes. As a matter of fact, This book's going on Audible for my rep friends. I've been promising for years to do it. This is the year it happens. And I will also put my new book on Audible as well. Because, one of the things, Chris, and you've learned this from your business experience. You work with a lot of professionals, and a lot of what we talk about is target audience. Well, my target audience is store owners, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to know who my biggest audience is? Sales reps.
Yeah.
That's my biggest audience. My target audience, store owners. Biggest audience by far, it's not even close anymore, is for reps. So I'm going to do, hey, Royal, Merry Christmas to you, brother. Thank you.
Pete, we've got somebody already backstage. And folks, you can join the show live like our guest is that we're about to pop in, who has been a former guest of the Pete Primeau show. So we're going to pop this gentleman in, and we're going to start this right away. If you do want to join the show, you can do this like our next guest will be. And so just go to castahead.net/Pete. We'll see you backstage like we do this gentleman and pop you on like we're doing right now. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Gordon Hecht. Welcome again, sir.
Hey, Gordon.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Pete. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, buddy. How are you?
I am good. I am retired from Serta Simmons.
Congratulations.
But I am still writing for Brand Source and posting it on LinkedIn so you can see my articles there, and working on a couple of consulting gigs.
Awesome. That is great. I think you would be one of my top 3 guys in the entire industry to hire as a consultant. Your knowledge based across so many years in different companies is invaluable. So I am so glad to see you go that direction as a consultant, and congratulations. So I guess you're really not retired, brother.
Yeah, not retired, not dead, still young, but want to spend some more time with my bride. We've been married 33 years. I've been on the road for 21. So we have an adjustment period on that.
Yeah.
But I did want to share a recent story. So one thing you may or may not know, Pete, I live here in Ormond Beach, Florida, and uh, about once a month or maybe once every 6 weeks, I go to work at a mattress store locally in Ormond Beach so I can give the owner operator a day off. Normally a Sunday, but sometimes it's midweek. And it's good for me too because I get to really connect with that retail customer. And on this particular day, a couple came in very much in their 60s. Uh, and the very first thing the man said to me is, "We are planning to spend our day today shopping for a mattress, and we've got a list of 9 stores to shop, and you're the first." And that's a little rough gig to go into right away. But we spent about 2 hours together, and I demonstrated adjustable base, picked out the mattress, picked out the mattress protector and pillows, and put together a package and put together a price for him. And his wife really liked it. And he said to me, "All right, that's all well and good, but what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me to close this deal?" And I said to him, it just came to me. I said, "I am going to give you the greatest gift that a salesperson can give you." And he said, "What's that?" I said, "I am giving you 8 hours off on a Saturday so you can enjoy your wife. So just go ahead and buy this mattress. It's the one you want. If you shop the rest of the day, maybe if you're lucky, you'll save $50. Maybe. So why don't you just purchase it here and enjoy the rest of your day and tear up the list of 8 other stores you were going to shop at." And they handed over their credit card and they handed me the list and they were done and very happy.
Gordon, I am so glad you shared that story because there are salespeople that are going to watch this right now, and there are salespeople that will watch this in the future on the replay, and they're too afraid to say that. But now that you have shown them the way, and ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of ways to do this, but I think Gordon, when he volunteered the fact that he was going to shop 9 stores, and you're the first one, this is probably a sales guy that you're working with, and he wants a deal, but what are you going to do for me? That's a self-closing question. Usually you don't have a lot to do, but you have to do something, and letting him know how valuable his time was. I used to say it a little bit differently because I'm not nearly as polished as you, Gordon. I would say, do you want to know something? Based on everything that I know and the hundreds and hundreds of stores that I've shopped over the years and recently as well, if you really push hard and you really work hard and you hit a lot of stores in the next day or two, you might save $100 if you're lucky. And you might decide that you're just too tired to come back here and do business with the person that you really wanted to do business with because they were honest with you, which is me. So why don't you just go ahead and do it right now, my friend?
Yes.
Now
Yes.
that's a lot pushier, but I'm just more comfortable that way. I'm not nearly as polished as you, but ladies and gentlemen, any version of that works. And what Gordon did so eloquently is given the gift of time to his bride by not wasting his time. And you know what she was thinking, like, yeah, stop wasting our time, man. We could go to lunch. We could go to dinner, maybe see a show. We could have a nice day. I don't want to keep doing this thing. I don't want to
I'd like
keep
to
going.
spend 8 hours in mattress stores, please.
Yeah. Who
Says
wants
no
to
one
spend
ever.
8 hours
Right.
in a mattress store?
No. Well, Pete, it's a very different customer these days. So most of my career, probably most of everybody who's on this podcast career, has been selling to baby boomers and probably some Gen Xers too. And we were taught to save money. Walmart came in, won't be undersold. People started, we're going to match any price. And we were so price conscious. And as we look at the millennials and we look at Gen Z, they're time conscious. They will spend extra money to avoid hassle and delays. So the gift that we can give them and our competitive advantage is not always price. Sometimes it's time, and sometimes it's, we'll set up a time for you for delivery. My local dealer here, he starts his delivery at 5 p.m. in the summertime. And he doesn't have to worry about people being at work. He doesn't have to worry about people having doctor's appointment, dentist appointment. He can knock out his deliveries in 4 hours.
Smart.
So he's done at 9 o'clock. And it's none of that no home or anything. Everybody's home at 5.
That's awesome. What a great story.
It is awesome. And it really, to your point, you're thinking about that person, right? And you're like, this person likely has a problem with the amount of time. They're like, they've carved out this day, like, oh God, 8 hours or whatever. I'm going to save you that time. I'm going to give it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I already know what's happening in these other stores. So let's just nip it in the bud. Here you go. This is going to solve your problem. Go have a great day together, or do something that you had put behind you, and now you can go ahead and do it. I love that. I love that aspect. And Gordon, I'm checking out some of these articles you're writing here, and the Your Source News that you've got here, The Sound of Money. This is your newest article that you've written. Now, do you write regularly for Your Source News? I see
Yes.
a lot of these articles on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so starting way back with my days at Ashley and then carrying through to Serta Simmons, I would reach out to every one of my dealers every week with a newsletter, just very similar to this. And of course, and then Your Source News picked it up about 5 years ago. And when I retired, we reached out to each other and we said, let's keep this going. And we are, and they're kind enough to print it. And
that's The Sound of Money right there. I can hear.
yeah, it's one of my former dealers. He probably wants to know where his shipment is, but anyways, so I am posting them on there, and anybody who wants to follow me, then they'll see that every week, those articles. And I try to write them as if it was the three of us sitting down and talking and just chatting. So spell check, which I finally figured out how to disable. But as I like to say, autocorrect is my enema. So
well, we've had 2 awkward phrases so far in the show, and it's early. That's awesome. So I'm going to assume that AI was not a huge part of these articles, because if you're just like now just auto correcting, like, this is from the fingertips of Gordon Hecht.
I have no AI. I actually wrote an article about AI, which I thought I started off the article that I thought it was steak sauce. But anyways, and just for fun. One day I decided to copy the Lincoln's address at Gettysburg. And then I asked AI to rewrite it. So it started off with 7 years ago, etc. And AI said, a few years ago, some guys got together and they wrote up some documents. And I was just thinking, like, if Lincoln would have said that, that many years ago, it would be long forgotten.
One of the most legendary opening phrases of all time. You know exactly what it is when you hear those words.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to take everybody's time. Well, I do want to take everybody's time, but.
Well, before you go, Gordon, there's a couple of things that we want to pull up from Chris Teheny. So while you're here, 3 legends on one screen. I don't know if he's counting me. I don't, but
He must
thank
be.
you. Thank you, Chris Teheny. Great to see Gordon. So Teheny chiming in from God knows where, maybe home with his family, I guess.
Last time I checked, he was in Cuba, so I'm glad to see he made it out.
Well, I will say Chris is he is a gentleman. He's a terrific guy, and he also works for an incredible company. Just really over the top, incredibly great products. I sleep on them, and when when we have to make the bed, and I'll say to my wife, "What sheets do you want?" It's like, let's put on the Dream Fit ones. And then, which Dream Fit sheets should we put on? Should we put on the quilted ones, or should we put on the Egyptian cotton ones? I don't know if before we got married, if my wife had any idea what went into sheets, but thanks to Chris, she is a sheet expert. And so Merry Christmas, Chris, and good luck. And hopefully I will see you again next year.
That's awesome. Gordon, I am so happy for you that you can kind of take off those corporate shackles. And I am sure that you had more freedom than 99% of the other people that work there because you kind of command that. But so happy to see you as a consultant because that's really what you've been your entire career. Always your heart has always been that of a consultant and a coach, and the fact that you're going to be able to dedicate yourself to that full time, I think that's awesome. And our industry is so much better off to have you in this role. So congratulations. Is there a website that we should share with our audience?
Gee, I didn't think a website was necessary for business. No, just kidding. Right now I'm about 3 weeks into retirement, so I haven't gotten that far yet. But LinkedIn, absolutely. And then if you see my name up there, my email address is my first name dot my last name at AOL.com. Or you can click that also. But anybody, during the next couple of months, if we've got retailers or reps on the phone and they have questions, send it over to me and I'll give you a free consultation. And I can promise you my opinion will be exactly worth what you paid for it.
Gordon. Well, you guys heard it here on the Pete Primeau Show. Gordon Hecht is now a consultant, and you can get a free consultation. Just reach out to Gordon and schedule it. Gordon, let me ask you a question before you skip. What do you foresee in 2025 in terms of business conditions? And then I guess the follow-up to that would be, what do you think our retailers should be doing right now to have the best chance of success in 2025?
Yep. So just probably right before the end of the year, I wrote an article about what to expect. And the name of the article is Opportunities Unbound. I think after, I call 2020, the 2020s, it's like the longest 30 years of my life has been the last 4 years or the last 5 years since the pandemic. It's just been a fight on every angle. But I did some math, and between the retailers that closed this year plus Big Lots, there's about 31,000 slots disappeared from the mattress industry. That lands up working out to about $600 million in purchasing of mattresses that are not going to be done by big box stores. So I think this is going to be a great year for us. Interest rates are going to drop, which means the housing is going to be a little bit more affordable. Housing sales drive our industry, so it's been a struggle the last few years on that. So you're going to see that better. The economy is always going to do what we think it's going to do. We have a consumer goods driven economy. If people think the economy is going to be good, they're going to spend money, and they do think it's going to be good. The last point, tariffs. We don't know what's going to happen with tariffs. Are they going to come in? Is it going to be a 2-week thing? Is it going to be a 6-week thing? So my advice to retailers today is you've got 25 days before the next administration comes in. Place your January and February orders at today's prices. In case tariffs come in, that you'll be protected. Talk with your reps, and see if they will give you advanced orders all the way through till June. So you can place your June orders now. You know about what you're going to sell. You know what you budgeted, or you should, and lock it in at today's price. If tariffs come, you're going to be 5% to 15% below everybody else on what you paid for the goods. If tariffs don't come, it doesn't matter, because then you're in at today's prices anyways. Look for a drop in fuel pricing. Fuel pricing is going to put $50, $75, $100 back in people's pockets. You're going to see that immediately before February 1st. You will see a drop in fuel prices.
Wow. That is great. That number one, Gordon, it's a great analysis. Just in the big box store, $600 million worth of mattress sales are available now, that will not be done by those stores because they're gone.
They're gone.
And 31,000 SKUs lost at retail, slots lost at retail. The translation to the 600 million to me is even more significant. And your advice on tariffs is so point on. The worst thing that can happen is that you don't ask. The best thing that could happen, you ask and you're allowed to place your orders, and you get today's prices for the next 6 months by listening to Gordon and taking his advice. You don't ask, you don't get. Ask. Most companies would love to guarantee pricing. So that is awesome advice. Thank you so much. And the drop in fuel pricing is not insignificant. And this thing with the tariffs, my friend Justin Trumbo calls it whack-a-mole because, these Chinese companies now own factories in Mexico, the United States, everywhere. It's like here or there, but great advice. Can I ask for an indulgence, just like a favor, Gordon?
Anything.
Get ready.
Within reason.
Get ready. I've been asked this question a million times, Gordon. Don't say yes yet. No, I'm kidding.
No, I would like you to share another either customer experience story or a customer service story with our audience that you think is significant and is impactful, because the first one you gave us is certainly that and more, and really gives a lot of our salespeople a recipe for closing sales that they might have been letting walk out the door.
I'll tell this story, and it's a 30-year-old story, but it's still good because it helped me get 2 different jobs in the past. So way back when I worked for Glick's Furniture in Columbus, Ohio. So you might be familiar, Pete, with them.
You bet. I sure am.
I managed the store on Morse Road, and Glick's was one of the greatest retailers I've ever worked for. They owned the Columbus market. But at the time I joined them, their operations were a mess, just a mess. And so I spent a lot of time on the phone fixing customers' issues. And one day I got a call from a shopper, and she said, "I'm really mad at Glick's." And I said, "Well, what's wrong? What happened?" And she said, "We ordered a sofa from you 8 months ago, and we were told it was going to take 4 weeks to come in. It didn't come in 4 weeks, and so we canceled the order. And for the last 6 months, the last 7 months, you've called us once a month, somebody from your company, to arrange delivery for it, and we canceled the order." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Give me let me have the order number, and I'll take care of it." And I said to the customer, in the last 7 months, have you bought a sofa? And she said, no, we haven't. And I said, I think I have a sofa you like. It's the one you ordered. If you like, we can bring it out Saturday. And they go, okay. So we got a brand new sale on a canceled custom order that's been sitting in the warehouse for 8 months. And I think probably good customers, bad customers, customers who say they hate your guts and they'll never shop at your store again. The bottom line is that I'll never shop your store again until the next time you have 12-month financing and free delivery. It costs 6 times as much to attract a new customer as an old customer. So definitely always remember to market to your old customers. And even if a customer cancels an order, when it comes in, it never hurts. As Pete said earlier, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Wow. That's a great story. And I think that on a human level, we always have to apply the basics of human psychology to sales, always. And understand that sometimes customers get upset and sometimes they say things they don't mean. And forever isn't forever. And I'll never is not never. And this is a great story. It's exactly, she went ahead and did exactly what she said she wouldn't do, right?
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for sharing that, my friend. And I am so happy about you becoming a consultant, but you've always been one. And I think you know that. So
Well,
anybody that needs help with their business in the furniture or mattress business, or really any retail business, Gordon is as good as they come. So hook up with Gordon on LinkedIn. Any other way to contact you?
so again, email address, which is my first name, GORDON .HECHT @AOL.com. Don't make fun of the AOL.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're a
Hold
true
on to that
believer.
AOL, man. Hold on to it.
True
Well,
believer. It was my
so
first email address as well.
here where I live in Florida, I am the tech support for my block. So I've been helping out a lot of customers with Hotmail addresses and,
Oh, Hotmail, yes.
at roadrunner.com. And
Oh, man.
so I'm the maverick of Del Boca Vista Phase 3.
That is awesome.
Seinfeld reference. I love it. You get bonus points for the Seinfeld reference. There, Gordon. Awesome.
Gordon, thank you so much. Have a
Thank you.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Happy
Take care of the
holidays.
shoulder.
Take care. Thanks. It's going well. So
Thank you.
can't complain. If I did, good Lord, I'd throw a lightning bolt down on me.
Take care, Gordon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gordon.
Bye-bye. All right. So, Pete, we did have somebody join, but I don't know, time may have gotten away at that point. So if you have joined and you I don't know, you had an issue, you can still join at this time. We have time here, just a few minutes here. We'd love to have you on the show. Just go to castahead.net /Pete, and there's a link that you can click, and you can join the show live with us, and share your favorite customer experiences or Seinfeld references or whatever.
Great.
It's a little bit of we're freestyling here, Pete.
Yeah, we are
bit, aren't we?
freestyling. So on the Mattress Industry Network group today,
Yep.
somebody was talking about Costco and had, a thing of a customer returning a mattress in Costco. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was a rep for CERTA. And this was back when we had fax machines before computers.
Oh, yeah.
And you've heard this one before, Chris.
Oh, this is good, though.
It is good. So I think the setup for this is my rank and file retailers, for me to be able to return a mattress and them to get credit for the mattress, I had to go into the warehouse. I had to lay it down and I had to measure it. I had to take a picture of the log tag and I had to take a picture of the mattress. And it was, it was, 10 questions. And I was checking for every little thing. I had to refuse it if there was any bodily fluids on there. I had to reject it if there were any stains on there of any kind. I had to reject it if there were any evidence of abuse. So we are selling Sam's Club, and every retailer and every rep is going to appreciate this story. We're selling Sam's Club, and I go to a Sam's Club and I see mattresses in the cage, and anything in the cage you were supposed to write a return for. And so I see these forklift holes in the mattress. So I go, well, heck, that's abuse. But then I look at the mattress itself and I said, well, if it's being returned, the forklift operator probably doesn't care how he handles the mattress. So, that probably wasn't done in the home. So, okay. I see every stain known to man on this mattress. And so I push it to the side. I go to the next mattress and more stains, and you name it. I don't know. They might have had 10 mattresses in there. I probably rejected 5 of them. And he goes, "You're going to write those up?" I go, "Absolutely not." I go, "That's abuse." I go, "You can't return mattresses with stains on them." Nobody had sent me the memo that it's Sam's Club. And anytime there's a mattress that's our brand that's in that cage, you have to return it. So by the time I got home, my phone had been blowing up and ringing. The owner of our president of our franchise of Serta had called me. My sales manager had called me. I had faxes, so many faxes from so many people at Sam's Club that we ran out of paper and we had to turn it around and we had to run it the other way, and that filled up and emptied out. So I don't know if there was 50, 60, 70 formal letters back and forth that I was copied on. But basically, I was instructed in no uncertain terms, including a letter from Bob Lilly, the president of all the Serta franchises.
Wow.
That under no circumstances is any rep from Serta to exclude any mattress. And so the thought went off in my head is basically, I have to give my poor dealers an anal exam if they want to return a mattress. But for these guys at Sam's Club, they negotiated a deal where basically none of the rules apply. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Boy, how unfair is that to our rank and file dealers? So basically, our rank and file dealers are, asked to jump through all kinds of hoops. And this one big dealer who probably could afford to take back anything they want and not necessarily get credit for it, gets away with literal murder. So anyone that thinks they know my opinion of that, I think by my comments and how I told the story. I have absolutely no use for retailers. Well, here's a different thought. Try to return something to Walmart today. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you could return it without a receipt, but try doing it today. Now you get an anal exam at Walmart. So Walmart created all this crap. Incidentally, same people own Sam's Club as Walmart.
Yep.
So there's the tie-in. So I hope one of my companies isn't selling Sam's Club or Walmart, or I'm about to get a bunch of emails.
Better fire up the fax machine again.
Story of my life, the fax machine story, but in reverse, updated for today's new realities with computers, which you wouldn't be limited to how many emails you could receive from corporate managers. So anyway, that's my take, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who are on that Thread and Mattress Industry Network group, let me ask you a question, my friend. What are you doing for Christmas?
What am I doing for Christmas? Well, we kind of are going to just have our own little family huddle. I've got my oldest son has to work, and so I think this is another thing that I kind of I'm gonna roll the ball back to you at this point. Yes, and this is a nice little thing, but I'm going to have one of my sons home, and so we're going to have the core family huddle, but we are going to go to Tennessee. My wife's family's from Tennessee, but we had those very same folks down last weekend. I think I had shared that with you. So we had a house full of relatives. So we're gonna have some family time. But as you know, Pete, I do a lot of people are down in the podcast industry in terms of like spending time with their family and doing all of that. But we get to do things like in the podcast industry, schedule live recordings and batch things, so that we can say, okay, for this week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. Yes, I'm going to be popping in and doing some things. But I've spent the last probably 6 weeks preparing for that, so that I can, I don't have to spend hours on December 24th, 25th, all of that time. I can spend more time watching college football and hanging out with my family, and that's really what it's about. And I want to roll this back to you and kind of talk about like, what are those that are viewing here or listening, and it is around the holiday time. You've spent 40 plus years in this industry and have talked to thousands and thousands of retailers and people. What are maybe some tactical and practical ways that someone who is in this industry, whether they're an independent mattress retailer or even at different levels in this industry, what are maybe some creative ways? Because people are still shopping, right? They're not they're still shopping for mattresses, and they may be shopping even more. And especially, I know what it's like to work in retail around the holidays, and it can be maddening for sure. So what are some ways to maybe help some folks who are in the throes of that and maybe need some practical advice on how to manage that? Maybe they didn't plan necessarily, but they're in it. What are some ways for them to kind of deal with the hustle and bustle that may be happening maybe in their stores?
One of the things that can happen is you get less door swings, and the few door swings you get are for the spare room. And the best thing that you can do as a sales pro is to share a story about another customer in the past who has they were looking for a mattress for their spare room. But what they did is they took their 8-year-old mattress and they put that in the spare room, and they got themselves a new mattress. So share that story with your customer. Either they will go along with that or they won't go along with that. But either case, you have done your job. Your job is to broaden the options that are available to them. Because when it comes to a spare bedroom, the options are very limited, especially if you're being limited by a price point. when you're going into the master bedroom, a lot of those constraints are thrown off and financing comes into play for them to get the mattress that they're going to get a good night's sleep on and wake up happy and pain-free for the next 10 years. The purse strings open, and the entire store is now available to sell, whereas only a thin slice was available to sell before. And like I said, either they go with you on that or they don't. As a percentage, I would say 25 to 35% of the time they will go with you on that journey. And so it is definitely worthwhile to put that forward, and don't make it your idea, make it another customer's idea. If you haven't had that experience, use my experience, okay? Because it's happened hundreds of times in my career where I've used that to broaden out the sale. So that is something. We're too far along now to be advertising for Christmas,
Right.
but the idea that there are home furnishing items, including a mattress, that can be great gifts. A lot of times, especially when people get older, they look at each other and they're like, we have everything. Like we don't really need anything. It's like when you're younger, you needed all kinds of stuff and you couldn't afford anything. So on Christmas, it was kind of like permission to splurge on something that you didn't have that you probably really kind of needed. And so, if that's the case, helping the customer go to the place of, you know what, you deserve this. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I had this really sweet customer, and she didn't want to spend $1,000 for a mattress. When $1,000 for a mattress, this is back in 1984, 1985.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot for a mattress in 84.
A lot. And she wasn't going to do it. And I said to her, you remind me of my grandmother, and she was in her 70s, maybe her older, later 70s, pushing 80. And I was, 30 some years old, maybe 20 some years old. Well, I can tell you, I was 30 some years old.
Live math on the Pete Primeau show.
Yeah, and I'm not good at math. I can do commission percentage as well, but I can't do anything else. Anyway, I digress. And I said, she was literally like having the fight in front of me. And she's like, the kids and the grandchildren, they expect a lot from me. I help them. And I just threw my hands down. And I said, you remind me, Paige, of my grandmother, and you've done without for your whole life. And now is the time, right now, for you to get something that you really want, that's going to help you get a better night's sleep. And it's going to help you be the grandmother and the mother that you want to be. And you deserve it. And that was the key. Everybody that's watching this, that's on the front line of sales, you need to give permission to your customer and let them know that they deserve it. And by giving them permission, and she finally looked at me and she said, you know what? There was one last obstacle. She goes, what if I die tomorrow? What if I die, in a week or a month? And I looked at her and I said, then it'll be the best night's sleep you had in years, and you'll go out with a bang, and you deserve it. So I hit that deserve it again. And if it's a year or 10 years, she goes, Pete, it's not going to be 10 years. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be 10 years. I said, whatever it is, you deserve it. Yep. And that is permission to do something that's good for yourself, that often people need to hear. And it goes across cultures. and it's something where you're doing something that on a human level is so good for another human being. Forget about your commissions, forget about all that. That's going to take care of itself. But you giving them permission to do the right thing for themselves is a blessing that you're giving another human being. So I think that's
and you know what
super
else,
important.
Pete? I don't mean to interrupt. You know what else? It makes you feel better and you sleep better. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? I mean,
100%. I never felt so good.
with the same mattress, you'll sleep better, right?
And she said to me, Pete, if it was anybody else, I wouldn't be doing this. But because it's you and I trust you and I believe you, I'm doing this. And I still have the card. I should show it on one of the next shows from her. She said, I thought you were crazy. I thought I was crazy. And I've gotten the best night's sleep I've gotten in years. And I am so glad I listened to you.
You know, something I learned from Jeff Giannakovo was, you know, he doesn't like to use the word deserve because he feels like deserve is what he calls entitlement language. He would rather use earn. So, you know, instead of saying well deserved, you say well earned. And then if you were to talk to somebody, and if you were to say that someone earned it, it feels like like it wasn't just like, you know, this is fallen in your lap necessarily. It's more of like, hey, you know what? You've gone through all of this. You've done this all your life. Now you've earned it. And so, you know, so sometimes, you know, I mean, I know what you mean, and I've always used that. Hey, I deserve it, or you deserve it. We know what that means, but I like to use earn as well. We've got a few comments. I know we're running up on time.
I love that distinction as well. But back in those times, we used the word deserved, and it
Sure.
was the right.
Oh yeah.
But happy holidays. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, and we have a question here from Royal Bateman. What's the return rate on mattresses for mom and pop?
It should be under 1 to 2% at the absolute largest. Return rates have crept up over the years because of manufacturers using lower quality fill materials, trying to hit price points for retailers and retail consumers. So they've crept up a little bit. It should be 1 to 2% though, Royal. That's a great question.
Larry Soraka, this was while Gordon was on, said he had similar stories like Gordon had shared when he had stores and when he was a store manager at a waterbed chain. So Larry, former guest of the show, thank you for your contribution. Fantastic show. So
thanks, Larry.
Soraka, joining us. And then we also have the one and the only Vernon Williams. Merry Christmas, gentlemen, watching live from the Camden Aquarium. Appreciate all you do and can't wait to see what 2025 has in store for you, Pete.
I can't wait either, RJ. Thank you so much for watching. And I cannot wait to get my new book out there. And thank you for being part of my launch team, RJ. I appreciate you more than you know.
Former guest of the show, him and Tara as well at Jacksonville. Bedding, Jacksonville Bedding. What's the name of the store?
Jacksonville Bedding.
Okay, all right. Hey, listen. Hey, I need another cup of coffee. And Christopher Long. Merry Christmas, Pete and Chris. Chris with the best name ever. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you as well.
Merry Christmas, Chris.
Awesome, Pete. Thank you so much for for being you and for doing what you do and for being the authentic Pete Primeau and being a consistent and valued voice for this industry. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, Chris. And by the way, I need you to send a link to my wife.
Okay. I think not to make it creepy for everyone, but it's called an invoice. I think is what you're talking about.
Yes, but the invoice is already paid, but this is something else that I would like to do for you.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Just send the link. We don't need to talk about that. All right, brother.
All right, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody. And happy Hanukkah. Same day.
Ho, 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 sell a million.